Finally tonight, the PGA Tour has made its boldest response to date against a rival professional golf league funded by Saudi Arabia. Commissioner Jay Monahan announced a plan earlier this week for the best players to commit to a 20-tournament schedule. It would start next year and is set to double the PGA Tour's prize money. The news comes amid the formation of the LIV Golf League. The Saudi-funded initiative is offering prize money of at least $150 million. And joining us now is Doug Eldridge, founder and managing partner of DLE Agency and Achilles Public Relations. Doug, great to see you again. All right, for those who aren't familiar, tell us more about the LIV Golf League and why it's come under so much criticism, that is.
So the LIV Tour was started in large part by Saudi Arabia, and it was designed to be perhaps an inadvertent competitor to the PGA Tour. Essentially, it's 7 stops, 54 holes or 3 rounds of golf, played all around the world. Now, the big draw was the money that they were throwing at some of the biggest names in the sport. Now, Tiger Woods recently confirmed that he was offered around $1 billion with a B dollars to play in the tournament. Phil Mickelson got $200 million, and a variety of other players going down the line got $125, $100 million, and so on. The criticism was mounted because some claim a couple of things. Number one, the connections between Saudi Arabia and the 9/11 attacks. Number two, the purported connections between MBS and the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist. Number three, a variety of purported human rights transgressions spanning years. And then number four, what some critics are calling sports washing, which is to say using a high-profile sporting event as essentially a Trojan horse to do some image rehab. But it's important to counter that with a couple of things, if we're calling balls and strikes here, no pun intended. Number one, if we're laying these two track records side by side and redacted the name, since that's a popular buzzword right now, would China be any better in terms of the human rights category? And yet the NBA and every major Hollywood production company is reliant upon the Chinese economy to sell their product. The NBA lost $400 million when a general manager posted an innocuous tweet 2 years ago about Hong Kong. And then secondly, you have countries like the UAE, who sponsors a Tour de France team that just won the yellow jersey 2 years ago. You have Qatar, who's hosting the World Cup here later this year. So the criticism is really met with mixed reviews, but this is quickly becoming a front page, not just a sports page story.
All right, I'll try not to create another word here, scrutiny and criticism. But anyway, I understand the PGA Tour, Doug, has banned players who try to play in both tournaments. I'm curious, why is that? I mean, you would think that it might be good for the game to have more competitions and maybe open it up to a wider audience.
You would think that, right? And actually, this has quickly devolved into an antitrust case as well, right? Because the allegation is, wait a minute, if there is not a collective bargaining agreement like there is in the NFL, which prevents NFL players under contract, just to draw a parallel here, prevents NFL players under contract from playing in a competing league, be it the CFL in Canada or the Arena League or the XFL, which The Rock has purchased and is going to relaunch. As long as you're under contract, you can't play in another league simultaneously. The PGA, when all of this started, did not have any type of binding language that prevented players from doing that. So for them to all of a sudden put the squeeze on players, for sponsors that are unfortunately caught in the middle, both with relationships with the players on the endorsement side, as well as PGA-wide sponsorships, they were cutting ties with players. And so really, if we want to talk about collusion, this was in some ways a prime example of that. And so this has quickly run up the flagpole, and DOJ is looking at this from an antitrust standpoint because they were essentially saying, you can't play in a competitor league. We don't have binding regulations that prevent you to, but like the old parent yelling in the back seat, because I said so. And it's really drawing a lot of criticism. So again, this story is only ratcheting up higher and higher.
Doug, we have probably less than 20 seconds left or so, but final thoughts on all this.
It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. You know, sometimes this money goes away as quickly as it appears. I mean, you're talking about unquestionably the wealthiest nation, at least in modern history, and perhaps in all of Earth history. If this is going to still be an issue and a controversy 1, 5, or 10 years from now, I don't know. I tend to agree with you. Healthy competition is good for the game. It's good for the sport. And it's best for the fans. So whatever the case may be, let's level the playing field and let the best players and the best chips fall where they may.
All right, Doug, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll see how things shake out.
Thank you for having me.